Tonight, the impeachment trial done, and now the president, he's feeling emboldened and he's going after his enemies. Is there anybody left to stop him, or has Trump fatigue hit critical mass? Then, we are now less than 24 hours away from the New Hampshire primary, and Bernie Sanders, he's leading in the polls and hoping for a big victory. If Bernie wins the nomination, could it result in a major loss for the Democratic Party? Also, we will get away from politics for a little bit. We'll talk Oscars with Variety's senior film writer. Good evening and welcome to RFL. I am Richard French. You know what? As we kick off another week in the seemingly reality TV time loop called Trumpland, we of course are reminded, sometimes on an hourly basis, that up is down, wrong is right, and unlike a Hollywood hit, the bad guy doesn't always get what's coming to him in the end. It has been, if we're honest, a dispiriting and exhausting 3+ years, and there is genuine reason to worry that things may actually get worse. Listen, I get it. I get the disappointment. I even understand for some the resignation among people who have always believed that our system of government, our institutions, our checks and balances, they'd always circumvent a fraud, who boldly challenged our founding fathers' vision. Like you, I never thought I'd see the day when a two-bit hustler would say on live TV that he was above the law and unwilling to let co-equal branches of government hold him to account. More shockingly, I never in my lifetime thought the party of Lincoln would roll up into a fetal ball before offering to drive Trump's getaway car after he hijacked the Constitution. I was wrong. I see the collective fatigue everywhere, in little ways sometimes. The Oscars last night, they barely touched on the unprecedented scandals. The winners, when they went up to do the speeches, they said, you know what, let's talk about the film or my agent or something else. I don't blame them. They seemingly decided, what's the point of alienating part of my audience when nothing seems to matter anymore? You know, I noticed the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're planning in a large block to go to the White House. And it's not because many of the players are fans of the president. In fact, to the contrary, they remember when Trump called them collective sons of bitches when last they exercised their voice of protest during the national anthem. They're going, I believe, because they're tired of the controversy inevitably attached to his Twitter feed that will follow. I know other hosts of TV shows like this, they dream of a day when we can talk about something, anything, other than this man's unending assaults on decency, but I argue you can't give in. You can't afford to let hopelessness sink in when democracy, and nothing less than that, is at stake. It is not hyperbole. I believe that's what's at stake here. So for those who say, what's the point? They'll rightfully argue that Trump, he's unapologetic after impeachment. He's even delusionally vindicated. He's already made his enemies list, he's checked it twice, and he's began his purge with his Republican sycophants cheering from the nosebleeds. He points to his approval rating, which, for once he's telling the truth, his numbers are actually up. And he tells his supplicant GOP to either do his bidding along with the Russians for this coming election, or they will pay the electoral price. And believe me, he'll follow through on the threat. The capitulation of the GOP, with one notable exception, is complete. It's as if the Republican Party has chosen to join the evil empire when given a chance to join the resistance. To those ready to throw in the towel, I promise you, though, it's a mistake. And I'll tell you why. Trump is still historically unpopular, even with the economy that we enjoy. And the public, they still feel hustled by the sham trial that McConnell shoved down our throats. 75% of us say we wanted to hear from the witnesses, and we didn't get to hear from them. You can also count on Donald Trump being reliable in one way. He will always be his own worst enemy. The walking scandal will, as sure as the sun will come out tomorrow, self-sabotage his campaign and his presidency with, self-dealing, incompetence, lack of discipline, the list goes on. It is a matter of when, not if. This much I'll go to Vegas and I'll bet the mortgage on it. More will come out of the Ukraine scandal as well. We will hear from John Bolton one way or another. The documents Trump buried to this point, they will come out eventually. The litany of Trump-related cases before the courts will be decided and very possibly we will see the white whale he has so desperately hidden from public view, his financial records. Trust me, there's a reason he has been so desperate to keep them hidden. There's also something called history on our side. The Father Coughlins, the Senator McCarthys in American history, they eventually exhaust their 15 minutes when we, the people, finally decide that though they have no shame, we as a nation do. We as a nation, we still have patriots. Adam Schiff may not have succeeded in making lawmakers across the aisle act on their conscience, but he did force them to own their complicity.
History will not be kind to Donald Trump. I think we all know that. Not because it will be written by never-Trumpers, but because whenever we have departed from the values of our nation, we have come to regret it, and that regret is written all over the pages of our history. If you find that the House has proved its case and still vote to acquit, your name will be tied to his with a cord of steel and for all of history. But if you find the courage to stand up to him, to speak the awful truth to his rank falsehood, your place will be among the Davids who took on Goliath. If only you will say enough.
Almost all did not say enough, but one did. Mitt Romney became a profile in courage when he stood alone among his colleagues and he put country before party.
Were I to ignore the evidence that has been presented and disregard what I believe my oath and the Constitution demands of me for the sake of a partisan end, it would, I fear, expose my character to history's rebuke and the censure of my own conscience.
You know, something interesting happened this weekend. Mitt Romney went home to Utah. And obviously Utah being a very red state, and the president's threats to Romney and some others in his own party calling him things like Benedict Arnold and Fox News Channel making him enemy number one, you would think he would have gotten hissed at the airport. Instead, he was cheered. Republicans in Utah respected him because he acted on principle. They respected him because he told the truth. Now, Donald Trump will not go away today. He will not go away tomorrow. He may go away in November. I hope he does. But I will say this much. I bet on America in that usually, if not always, we eventually get things right. Sometimes it takes us a while, but we, as Adam Schiff asked, eventually say, enough. That's why you don't give in. That's why, though exhausted, you don't say no more. We say enough because this is not who we are. All right, when we come back, Rudy Giuliani still playing corruption buster in Ukraine, and now it appears, believe it or not, he's got a direct channel to the Department of Justice, the bat phone of our Attorney General, William Barr. A former congressman will join us to discuss how worrisome all this is and also why we all ought to be concerned.